right, DraftKings contributors Pearce, Dietrich, and Geoff Ulrich are here to talk about the NASCAR Pennzoil 400. Need your best plays for this one. So, Pearce, you gave us Kyle Larson last week to win, and Larson won this event last year. He's at the top of our DFS prices this week. 6 drivers over 10K. Who is the pick this week at the top?
It's going to be Kyle Larson for about every week for the upcoming weeks. Now, last year's race doesn't really matter much because that was a different racing package. But if you go back to 2018, where they had low downforce cars, Larson was one of the fastest cars on the long run, running up against the wall. These cars lack side force, so the closer that you can run next to the wall, you're going to add extra grip, extra speed. There are very few drivers that can do that. Kyle Larson is one of them. He won last week. He very likely will win this week. If he doesn't win, he's still going to accumulate a lot of fast lap points.
All right, Geoff, what do we think? Who's the pick this week at the top?
All the G-forces in play here at the Pennzoil 400, but I'm going to go with Joey Logano. I think I made fun of him at Daytona because he's getting crashes, but he loves this track. Won here twice. Very, very solid performer in Vegas, and I think he's pretty much come out and said like this is definitely one of his favorite tracks. So. We were talking about this last week, or Pearce was saying, I mean, golf and NASCAR have this in common, that there's definitely drivers with their favorite tracks and everything involved. And looking at Logano, I mean, he's third there in the old DraftKings rankings in terms of salary. So he's saving a little bit going off Kyle Larson. Kyle Larson clearly the top dog. I think Pearce proved that to me last week. But I think Joey Logano is definitely the guy I would be looking to here if you were not paying up for Kyle Larson this week.
Alrighty, Geoff, which driver provides some good value in DFS? I know you've been big on Bubba Wallace in the past, also known as Bubba Watson if you ask Steve Buchanan. But who are you looking at for value this week?
I mean, you probably could go back to Bubba Wallace this week, I suppose. I mean, he's looking very cheap just from a DraftKings DFS perspective at 6,300. I mean, I don't know, maybe Pearce has a better take on that, but I like Ricky Stenhouse Jr. at 7,200. By all accounts, again, I mean, this guy's raced really well in Vegas too. He's got, just looking here, wait, where's my chart? He's got 3rd and 11th place finishes in his last 2 Vegas starts. Sorry, that's what I was looking for. So Stenhouse Jr. started the season pretty well. It seems like these new cars gonna do him a little bit of favors this year, and he stood out to me as the best value. So there you go, Pearce. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. That's our value play this week, right?
Yeah, I like Stenhouse. I like Stenhouse in this package and at this racetrack. But I'm going to go with Daniel Hemrick at 5,800. He's running double duty this week, so that means by the time they wave the green flag on Sunday, he'll have already had 2 practices and run an entire Xfinity race. He's also a part of a college racing team that is a part of a 6-team alliance. Those teams are all cooperating and sharing data, and it looks like they're all benefiting early in the season. And then also, he is the reigning Xfinity Series champion. He's just priced way too low, had a great finish last week. I think he's going to be a very popular value play.
All right, over on the DK Sportsbook, in the weekly special tab, we've got the Born in Sin City special. Either Kyle or Kurt Busch to win at plus 700. Home track for the Bushes. So do you like either of their chances? You guys didn't like any of the weekly specials last week, but maybe one catches your eye this week, Pearce?
There is a bet that catches my eye. I'm not going to make it, but it's that all of these 3 drivers finish inside the top 10. It's Eric Jones, Daniel Suarez, and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. at plus 1,100, which is really interesting because if this bet was on the board last season, it would have been something like plus 10,000 or plus 15,000. It is crazy how quickly things have changed, and it's odd, or maybe not, that the DraftKings Sportsbook believes that all 3 can get into the top 10. But I agree with them. I think all 3 can definitely excel in this new package, and most DFS players do not believe in these guys yet. And so they're going to have really low ownership. So while I'm probably not going to bet this, I think that these 3 drivers definitely should be on the board in DFS.
All right, Geoff, what do we think?
That was one I was looking to too. So that one's interesting. I mean, we always like to go with the long shots, but the one I actually do kind of like and would look to is Joey Logano, Ryan Blaney, both to finish in the top 5. I mean, talked about Blaney last week. Blaney, by the way, was on his way to winning. What is going on with his pit crew, Pearce? What is going on with Ryan Blaney's pit crew? I was watching this thing. Every time he went into the pits, he lost like 5 spots.
He lost 93 spots.
He was right there. I thought I was going
to
come on the show, celebrate a Ryan Blaney win. Pearce would get fired. Now it's just back to square one. Anyways, for Joey Logano, Ryan Blaney, both to finish in the top 5. We know we like Logano. He's got the great Vegas track record. Blaney's racing well. that's my favorite in the old specials there on the DraftKings Sportsbook for the race.
All right, well, again, while Pearce nailed Larson as the winner, Geoff, you did give us a nice little top 10 winner with Eric Almirola. You know, that's an Eric with an A. What?
That's great.
What? All right, who's priced for a top 10 or top 5 are you looking at this week, Geoff?
What is going on?
I don't know.
Okay.
You looked
For
at
a
me
top
like you didn't say Eric right.
It kept every time, and I've said it thousands of times here on this show, every time I look at it and I see it,
It's just
I say
'cause
it
it's an
doesn't
A?
sound the way that it looks like because of
Yeah.
the A, and
I
my
get it.
brain is malfunctioning. Go ahead, Geoff.
Brad Keselowski, top 5. He's been in good form. He's got 12 top 7 finishes in his last 13 races. He's got a good Vegas track record, too. I can go into Brad Keselowski for a top 5 finish. I don't know. You can maybe dabble on him in the long shot department, but I think plus 400 seems very fair. And then we'll go back to our guy, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Just bet him for a top 10, plus 170. Those are good enough odds. It's not quite as good as what we hit on Eric with an A, Eric, last week, but it's pretty good.
It's actually pronounced
So Stenhouse
Eric.
Jr. top 10, Keselowski top 5.
Eric.
Yeah. No, it's just Eric.
All right, Pearce, what do you like for this one, dude?
Let's go back to Daniel Hemrick for a top 10. He has some of the longest odds. It doesn't make any sense. Last week, he was 6 laps down, and he still came back to finish inside the top 10. You probably say, well, how could that be possible? Well, in this new package, cars are spinning out left and right. They set a record for wrecks and spin outs and cautions last week at Fontana. It will be the same thing again at Las Vegas. There's going to be spin outs. There's going to be wrecks. So if you want to take a chance on someone with even longer odds to get a top 5 or a top 10, it's not the craziest thing because we're going to see a lot of spins and wrecks and chances at the end. I really like the chances here with Hemrick to get a top 10.
It's actually pronounced Danielle.
Oh, okay. Pearce, who's the winner of the Pennzoil 400? Look into your crystal ball and give us who's getting the W.
Tyler Reddick. Larson is great at running the wall, but Tyler Reddick is even better about getting up there and hugging the wall. Last week, he led 90 of the 200 laps. He looked great until he blew a tire. I have a lot of confidence in Tyler Reddick to win. It's this package completely suits the way that he drives. Last week at Fontana, you get a bumpy groove on the bottom, so you need to run up near the wall, and the guys that run closest to the wall are going to win. And it's the same thing at Las Vegas. The bottom line, you're not going to be able to run it because it's just too bumpy. And these cars create downforce on the bottom of the car. And so if you're running over bumps, you just spin out. If you can run next to the wall, like Reddick and Larson, then you've got a really good chance of winning.
Reddick plus 1,600 to win.
Give it to me.
Geoff, who are you going with? Kyle Larson, the favorite at plus 500.
I mean, after hearing how confident Pearce was and all those things, I kind of just want to bet Tyler Reddick. But I'm going to give out Joey Logano. We'll go with the course history here, much like Rory at Bay Hill. This is Joey Logano's Bay Hill here, folks. He's done extremely well. He's looked pretty good over his last couple races. Plus 800. Maybe sprinkle a little bit on Pearce's pick just in case, but we'll go with Joey Logano for our main pick.
Joey Logano tied for second best odds to be the winner on the DK Sportsbook.
Big fan of that guy.
So, yeah.
All
That's
right.
you.
This is me?
Yeah.
Before we go, Pearce, Kyle Busch, racing in the Truck Series event, minus 120 to win. Give us a pick in the Truck Series race tonight and maybe the Xfinity Series race this weekend.
Yeah, and then just another thing about that Cup race. It's a Pennzoil 400, and Joey Logano is the Pennzoil driver, if you want to buy into that narrative. It's happened plenty of times before, believe me.
Dang.
And it's happened for Logano in a Pennzoil race driving a Pennzoil car.
That's cool.
The truck race, I will go with Ryan Preece. I think Kyle Busch can control this race, but it doesn't mean he's going to win. We're going to see plenty of wrecks and volatility. Ryan Preece, in one of his 2 races last season for David Gilliland, won at Nashville. And then in the Xfinity Series, I'm going to go with Josh Berry. Last year, subbing in just jumping in the car at Las Vegas, he went out and won the race handedly. And he looked comfortable running every single groove. Josh Berry is my pick to win the Xfinity race.
Jeff, is your gut telling you anything for these races this weekend? Or
Do you have any
My
drawings?
guy Sheldon
Yeah.
Creed, who I think crashed out of the last time I picked him, is racing, it looks like, in the Xfinity Series, plus 2,500. I don't know, probably worth a look, but no, I think you should stick with Pearce's picks once we get past the big races because, I don't really know what's going on.
Hey, fair enough. Fair enough, Geoff.